Hello, everybody. This is Juan Cephas from Fit PD, and this is Lineup with Fit PD. Today's guest, man, another amazing person that's here to join us. We're talking about former Marine who is a recipient of a Purple Heart from injuries he sustained in Iraq, in Anbar Province, while supporting another group of Marines that were in a gunfight. And when he gets out, he's not done serving like he served his country. He decides, I'm going to serve my community. So he becomes a peace officer. This is in 2015. 3 years later, he's involved in another critical incident, this time as a peace officer, and where he sustains a couple of gunshot wounds.
Yep.
And his partner, one of his partners, also sustains a gunshot wound. But Francisco's not done. He gets in front of his partner, between the suspect and his partner, to intercept any rounds that might come down range. This is like stuff that you see in a movie. But you know what? I can't tell you about it because I won't do it justice. But we have Francisco that's going to tell us a little bit more about his experiences and his life that he's trying to get other people to understand, which is built on grit, resilience, and just the mindset to be a better version of yourself and serve your community or your country. Francisco, thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
I don't even know where to start. I'm assuming you're a young man.
Yes.
And you joined the Marine Corps.
Yes.
And you know what? I had my reasons for joining the Army. Everybody's got their reasons for joining the armed forces, but what's yours?
It's weird because I had two goals in life. One was to become a police officer, and the other one was become a United States Marine.
Wow. I'll
never forget, I was in 4th grade in my aunt's house, and a commercial comes on the TV. It's crazy. It was just a man like in jeans and a t-shirt, and he was going through a chessboard. So at the end of it, he gets knighted by the king on the chessboard, and then he turns around and, all this like storm happens and he becomes a United States Marine. After seeing that commercial, I was hooked.
You were hooked?
I was hooked. So I knew hey, I want to be a Marine. That's what I want to do. And also seeing, the police officer aspect, seeing movies and shows, if you remember, I know Chips and Starsky and Hutch.
Sure.
Those things. I was like, oh man, I kind of want to do that stuff. That stuff seems pretty cool, So that's where the wanting to become a cop came from.
Wow.
So I was 14 years old when I first called the Marine Corps recruiter.
14.
And I said, hey, I want to be a Marine. They kind of laughed at me and said, hey, you have to be 17 years old and a high school senior before you can enlist. Call us back then. Okay. And then he says, however, we'll send you some information anyway in the mail. So a couple weeks go by, I forget about it. Get a small little package from the Marine Corps in the mail. It's, hey, these are the jobs that we have, a little pamphlet.
Yeah.
And here's this poster. It says hardcore, and it has a guy with, cami paint on in the middle of the jungle. So I still have that poster to this day.
Really?
Yeah. So you're looking, like 30 something years, 31 years later.
Wow.
Or 30 years later, and I still have it. So, it kind of stuck with me. So I turned 17, going into my senior year in high school, called the recruiter again.
Uh-huh.
And the only thing he asked me, he says, hey, do you know what dress blues look like? I said, absolutely, I do. He said, okay, well, 3:00, I'll be by the flagpole. I come out of school, and sure enough, there he is, dressed in full dress blues right in front of the flagpole. So I'm like, all right. So we go to his office. As we're walking away, all my friends are like, hey, you joining the Marine Corps? I'm like, absolutely. And
absolutely.
History from there. And, I later on that summer after I graduate, August of 1999, I go to boot camp.
Where'd you go to boot camp?
Parris Island, South Carolina.
Parris Island, yeah.
And then graduate. I graduated November 10th. No, I'm sorry, November 11th. I graduated on Veterans Day.
Veterans Day?
Yeah, I graduated on Veterans Day.
That's not symbolic.
Yeah, it's crazy that was happened to be our date that we graduated.
Right.
But one of the biggest things I remember from boot camp was we just finished the Crucible, which is the final, test before you become a Marine.
Yes.
We became Marines. They let us come back to the barracks and pretty much go to sleep for a few hours. So when we wake up, it was time for the Marine Corps ball. So our senior drill instructor was going to the Marine Corps ball, and he's walking in his dress blues down the squad bay, full uniform, all his medals just shiny, kind of look like a knight. Like you see him walking down the hallway, and it's like, man, this is like
the commercial you saw.
That's like the commercial I saw. This guy's in full uniform. His ribbons and his medals are just, he's clanking, walking down the squad bay, and it's like, wow, I hope to be that one day. So, and ended up having a pretty good career. I did 15 years.
15 years
before I retired. Back in 2014, they were offering early retirements.
Okay.
Because the Marine Corps was so full.
Sure.
So my MOS, I was a 0369, so I was an infantry unit leader.
Okay.
We were really full, so they were trying to downsize. So they offered, hey, you can leave at 15 years and take a reduced pension and start your new career early, or you can finish your 20. So I was like, I jumped all over it. I was like, I get to leave here 5 years early and start my new career 5 years early. And that's what I did.
And that was in 2015.
So I retired in 2014.
2014.
August of 2014. And then I went to the police academy October 2014.
But now let's back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, you end up getting assigned to go overseas.
Yes. So
to Iraq.
Yes. So 2003, I went to 1st Battalion, 5th Marines. Mm-hmm. And my first deployment with them was we went to Anbar Province first. We started out in Abu Ghraib prison.
Okay. Oh.
And then from there we pushed out to Fallujah, Iraq in 2004. So we did the initial first battle with Fallujah.
Okay.
We were there for 30 days. I was there for about half of that because they split our company up. Then we came back from there.
How much fighting was there going on during that particular time when you were there?
There was a lot of fighting going on.
Nightly?
Yeah, nightly. There was different units getting into different, skirmishes. Different units getting into different firefights. So my unit, again, spread out. So they all got into their own kind of firefights.
Okay.
I was in a few during that time. Then we get done with that from that deployment. So that was 2004. We come back. We do another workup. And then in 2005, we go to Ramadi, Iraq.
Now, when you say you come back home, where was your duty station?
So Camp Pendleton.
At Camp Pendleton. Okay, so you're coming back to Camp Pendleton.
We get a few days off when we get back with our families. And then you come back and then you start another workup.
Okay.
Another workup meaning you start going to the field, learning tactics again, refreshing all your stuff that you may have lost.
Right.
Because, we learn all the basics as far as tactics are concerned. But when you kind of get into that, urban warfare is a little different. So your tactics kind of have to change a little bit.
Lessons learned.
Yeah. So
you got to change things up.
Exactly. You go off lessons learned and, you change up your tactics a little bit. And then you do the workup for about 6 months and then you head back out again. And that's what we did.
So after 6 months, you went right back.
Oh, so we did I'm trying to think when I went. So we came back in September of 2004, and then we left again in March of 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you explain to me at this time, how old are you?
At the time, I'm 2004. So I was 22 years old.
So you're relatively a really young man.
I was young at the time.
And you're at 22 years old, you're being asked to go back.
Mm-hmm.
What's going through your 22-year-old mind as you're asked to go back?
Oh, all of us were ready to go back immediately.
That's what you signed up for?
That's what we were there for. So, everybody's eager to go back. There's nobody that's scared to go back. And not to mention that some of the guys even went to the first invasion of Baghdad. Oh. So you already had guys going back a third time. So they already did 2 tours under their belt. So I was kind of the new guy the first time he went.
Okay.
Then the second time I was a little more seasoned at that point.
All right. So now you get back. And how is this second tour any different than the first?
So the first tour, IEDs weren't prevalent. The improvised explosive devices weren't prevalent. I think our company maybe hit one when we were over there. The second time was a lot different. I don't know if they started using them more, but we got hit. My own platoon, because we were full mobile, so we weren't on vehicles. We hit 18 of them.
18.
Yeah, throughout our throughout our combat deployment.
Okay.
And I only know that because I kept records of it. Every time we got hit, I write it down on a little notebook. Every time we got,
your journal.
Yeah, I pretty much journal, just a quick little jot down. Hey, we hit IED this day, or someone was injured this day. Unfortunately, we took a couple of killed in action. So
yeah. So now, as you're experiencing all this, tell us a little bit about the days leading up, or the day leading up to you personally being also injured.
So the day prior, my platoon sergeant, he was walking across a bridge, and him and his radio operator hit an IED.
Okay. And
he got thrown back, and he just scraped up his hand. So he was fine. We kept moving. And I'm over here making fun of him, like, hey, you almost didn't make it. And he's like, I'll just wait, your turn will come, like just joking around.
Right.
That's kind of how we did with the trauma,
Correct. With the stress.
That's how you deal with it over there.
Right.
So we're making fun of each other, He said, just wait. The next day, one of our squads got into a firefight. So we were going to assist them. So we go there, we assist them with the firefight. It's over. So we say, hey, we need to go back to our camp. So we ask our radio operator, hey, pick a route back. And he's, all right, let's go this way. Okay, cool. So we get information, start patrolling back.
And this is on foot?
On foot.
Okay.
So we start patrolling back to our little patrol base.
So it's basically like a light infantry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a regular infantry platoon. So our first squad got into a firefight. We were third squad. We went out, helped them. So now we're making our own way back to our little base that we had, a patrol base. All of a sudden we hear the mosque playing the call to prayer.
Yeah.
The streets are empty. And then, that's how you knew that's when the firefight's going to come. You kind of knew it was coming at that point. And then the last thing I remember was looking back at one of my guys and saying, hey, this feels like a movie, telling him that. And then all of a sudden, bright orange flash, and then everything goes dark. So that's when the IED blew up. So that's the last thing I remember before the explosion.
And now, were you unconscious?
Yes. So thankfully, instead of killing me, they dug the IED too deep.
Oh.
So it threw me versus killing me, all the shrapnel killing me.
Right.
So it pretty much tossed me a couple feet, maybe 10 feet or so away from the blast, knocked me out. And then when I came to, my body's tingling, I can't hear anything.
Right.
And, I start moving my legs. So I'm like, okay, I can move. I get up, I'm all dazed, take cover, and I look across and I don't see anybody. So I'm like, oh man, is everybody dead?
You're by yourself?
I'm by myself at the time. So I'm like, oh man, is everybody like dead right now? And then I look across the street and my squad is on the other side of the street, like yelling for me to come to them. So I stumble across the street and I ask, hey, who got hit? And they're like, you did, So I'm like, oh, okay. And then my doc at the time, my Navy corpsman's like, hey, you need to strip down. So I need to check you.
Sure.
So I take my vest off and he checks me. And he's all right, you're good. You just
no open wounds,
nothing, no shrapnel, nothing. It's like, hey, you just got tossed. Thankfully,
blessed.
Yeah, blessed. So we put my gear back on, and what do we do as Marines? We're all crazy, so I jump in the hole and get a photo. You got to get the photo op,
Yeah, sure, right.
So jump in the hole, get the photo op. It's probably up to like a little below my chest, the hole.
Okay.
We find the battery that they always use. And then I pick up a piece of shrapnel from the hole. Yeah. And I put it to my side just to show, hey, if I would have got hit, it would have probably killed me.
Sure.
And then we just go back, we patrol back to the base, and I didn't want to get evacuated to to medical. Sure. Because we just got there. We were there for, less than a month. Yeah. So I don't want to leave. We just got here. So my platoon sergeant looks at me, he's like, are you sure? Yeah. My doc, yeah, you're fine. Okay, well, you can't patrol for, I think he said 48 to 72 hours. Okay. Just because you're concussed. Sure. You're not allowed to patrol. Right. So that was like my,
That was your timeout.
That was my timeout. Yeah, that's my timeout. You can't patrol for, I think it was like 48 to 72 hours.
72 hours. Yeah.
I couldn't hear anything anyway. Everything was muffled. I couldn't hear it took
concentrate.
I had trouble concentrating. But the mostly was my hearing.
Okay.
I just couldn't. Everything was super muffled.
Yeah, it's a real concussion.
Yeah, so it was bad, and and not eating, things like that, nauseous, the usual stuff.
Right.
And then that was it. And then 72 hours later, I'm back on patrol.
Back on patrol.
Yeah, back on patrol.
Now, your mindset at this point? You're going back on patrol. You decided to stay.
Mm-hmm.
What's going through your mind your very first day back on patrol?
At that time, it was kind of almost, I don't want to say almost like a cocky mentality. Not with my Marines.
Okay.
Just like about, I guess. I mean, I was not even cocky. It's more like I made peace with like, hey, like if you're gonna die, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So
sure.
We get, people say, hey, possible IED. We go up to like versus like standing back, looking at it, waiting for EOD to come out. We walk up to it and like brush our hand across it to see if it was an IED or pick up the wire. Okay, yeah, it's an IED. So it's more like, I don't want to say reckless because it wasn't reckless, but it was more like, I can't explain it, but it was more of a, hey, like if it happens, it happens. So we went up to it, we'd look for it, and then we step back, and instead of waiting for EOD, one of our gunners would shoot a 203 grenade at it and blow it up. And then over the radio, we'd say, hey, it blew up in place by itself. Because if you wait for EOD, it takes you
forever.
I mean, hours.
Yeah.
It takes hours.
They don't have time.
Yeah, you figure a small EOD team has the entire, their area of operations is huge.
Right.
So and especially if they're busy doing another company or something like that.
Yeah.
You have to wait.
There's not enough resources.
Not at all. No, our EOD teams were tiny. So instead of waiting, we just shoot a 203 at it, keep going.
And I'm sure you guys weren't the only ones doing that.
No, there's no way.
No. I mean, operations would come to a halt almost.
Yeah, you take a position, take a security position, a security posture, and you just wait hours and hours until they get there. If they were lucky to be at the base camp, at whatever camp you were out of, they'd come out pretty quick. But most of the time, you're waiting, who knows how long.
Sure. Yeah.
But
your mindset is you're still moving forward. And
yes.
How do you, how much longer do you stay there?
So we stayed there March to September. We stayed in March to September. We stayed in Ramadi.
Okay. March to September.
So we got back like late September, I want to say.
Okay. And what about other additional resources like for mental health while you're there? Is there such thing?
So at that time, everybody got to do the post-deployment survey on the way out, which was kind of like, do you feel like harming yourself? And, can you sleep at night? Just random questions like that.
Right.
And everybody, of course, being like, at the time, 22, 23 years old, like, no, I'm fine. I don't need this mental help. At the time there was like a stigma to it.
Sure.
Back then.
Sure.
You were considered weak or, things like that back in 04, 05. Guys will look at you weird, if you had any kind of mental health problems. So like,
sure,
your medical record was skinny. It was, they had nothing in it because nobody went to medical for anything. You didn't want to get taken out of the field. You didn't want to get taken out. So, I say no to everything.
Right.
They ask about TBI and things like that. No, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine to go to the next one. So that's pretty much everybody did. And I don't think anybody wrote like, there was like no mental health. Nobody had anything. There was no mental health issues.
Nothing.
Well, they were there, obviously,
Obviously.
But nobody ever said anything about their mental health issues.
Well, and I think also, there's a time in our history, whether you're a peace officer or you're in the military, where you also feel guilty because you're being taken away from your squad, from your teammates.
Absolutely.
If you are injured, whether it's physically or mentally, you're not going to be available to help others.
Absolutely. And that's how I felt when I got, blown up that time. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
You're guilty because the deployment prior, and like I said, we lost some of our guys there. We lost 4 of our guys who were ambushed and were killed. We had other ones, one of our mortarmen lost his leg. So it's like, well, I just got blown up. I have a concussion. I'm fine. I don't need to leave. These guys lost their lives, lost a limb. I'm not hurt enough. I don't need to leave.
Right. So
that was kind of the mentality back then. If you weren't physically hurt, like missing a limb, you took shrapnel somewhere, you don't leave the battlefield. You don't leave your guys behind. That was our mentality.
Yeah, that's That's a different type of mentality.
It is.
Different type of mentality. Does that build grit?
I think so. I mean, I don't want to say it's the best. It's probably not the best way to approach things sometimes.
Sure.
Because sometimes you need the help.
Sure. Yeah.
Who knows if I should have got taken out, like if my platoon sergeant would have been like, hey, you need to leave.
Right.
Like you're leaving regardless. Because I don't know what happened to my, you can't see it. I don't know if my head was, who knows if I had a swollen brain? Who knows? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No, you can't see in there.
Can't see in there, know. So, but I mean, I think it builds some grit, like, kind of like you've been through it. So, you just keep pushing.
You experience difficult times and you learn to keep moving.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Put your head down, keep moving.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about that lesson. Maybe not seeking help, but definitely building grit, resilience is something that sometimes is needed.
Yeah, I agree.
It's needed. Now you end up being a recipient of the Purple Heart. At what point do you receive that award?
I just got it a couple of years ago. It was I think it was a 19-year gap in between.
Right.
When I got injured to when I got the Purple Heart.
Correct.
So once you leave country, like if stuff's not documented, you don't like. There was like nothing saying that I got injured in the field.
Right.
Except my post-deployment health survey. I put, hey, I hurt my right elbow, and like head due to IED blast. So it was like one sentence. So nobody really pays attention to that stuff.
Right.
So it wasn't until talk of some of my buddies, they redid the Purple Heart criteria for TBI, for traumatic brain injuries. They were like, hey, you should probably put in for it. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to put in for that. I don't think I deserve it. And then my wife's like, you should put in for it. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Again, I wasn't hurt enough.
Sure.
I had that mentality even when I got out the Marine Corps. Like, no, I don't think I need it. And then finally they were talking to me one day and saying, just do it, please. Okay, I'll do it. What do I have to do? So I read this list and it's like, now you need proof. So now you need signatures from, you need statements from people who were there. I saw you get blown up. And then you need statements from the entire chain of command. You need like from your company commander, your battalion commander, all the way up the chain. And they're the ones that approve it. And then once they approve it, then you get the Purple Heart. So it was like, what the heck? I was like, all right. So I start off by getting statements from my squad mates.
Okay.
Two of my squad mates that were there, they witnessed it. I had them write statements for me. My platoon sergeant, he wrote a statement for me. And then my platoon commander, who was a lieutenant at the time in Iraq, he ended up retiring a captain. He wrote one for me because my captain in country died. He got hit with an IED underneath his Humvee and, unfortunately lost his life. So he wrote one on his behalf. And the last signature was our battalion commander. So I'm like, where's he at? Because I was already retired from the Marine Corps. And I'm like, well, how do I find this guy? Come to find out, he is the assistant commandant of the Marine Corps.
Oh.
So he's like number 2.
Number 2.
So I'm like, man, do I just send the assistant commandant an email?
Just call him.
And I'm like, yeah, what do I do? Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies worked for the Marine Corps as a civilian. I'm like, hey, can you get me General Smith's email address? And then the first question, he's like, for what? And I'm like, oh, then I told him the story. He's like,
right.
Oh, okay, he was your battalion commander. Okay, I'll give it to you. So he sends me the address and he sends me the email address. And I'm like, man, do I just email the general? And I'm like, hey, what's the worst that can happen? I email the general. I tell him
you're retired.
I'm retired already. I tell him the story and I'm like, this guy's not going to respond back. He's so busy.
Yeah.
Next day, I get an email back. And he's like, Devil Dog, he's like, thank you for everything you did over there. Our battalion was great. So I'm like, oh man, can't believe I got an email from the general.
Wow. And
then he says in the email, let me verify, because he has to verify too.
Sure.
Because he doesn't know everybody in his battalion. Let me verify you were with me first off.
Right.
Somebody who actually knows.
Start there.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
So a day or two goes by and I get an email back from him. He called one of our other lieutenants at the time who was a lieutenant in country. Hey, do you know him? Do you know what happened to him? yes, everybody, everything was like,
confirms.
yes, everybody confirms that what it was. And then he's like, okay, well, you'll have my endorsement, end of the week. So
Nice.
end of the week comes, I get another email and it's signed by General Smith, that he requested I get the Purple Heart Medal.
Right.
So I finished my package. He was the last signature I needed. And I submitted everything to Headquarters Marine Corps. And by the time I submitted it, he was moved up to the Commandant of the Marine Corps.
Oh.
So he went from Assistant Commandant to the Commandant.
Commandant.
So the final signature for approval for the Purple Heart is from the Commandant. So I'm assuming he gets my package. He's like, well, I just signed this.
I'll sign it again.
I'll sign it again. So I'm a Purple Heart signed by General Smith. So it's like a full circle moment, he's your battalion commander. That's where you get injured. And then 19 years later, he's the Commandant who signs your certificate. So it's pretty cool.
Not by chance.
Yeah, it's
not by chance.
I don't know.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. I agree. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Francisco. That's, it's amazing.
And
Absolutely.
Then trying to figure out who's going to present you the medal, because you have to pick somebody to present it to you.
Right.
So I'm like, who do I know? Kent Pendleton. And then my commander, from recruiting duty, my commander was there. He was a lieutenant colonel.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, sir, do you mind presenting this? He was like, heck yeah. Initially I wanted a small, I was like, hey, can you just give me the medal?
Low key.
Me, my wife, and one of my friends. He's like, no, you're gonna get a
ceremony. Yeah.
You get a ceremony. You need to invite people from your department. So I'm like, he's like, yeah, we're gonna do it. So I sent emails to the POA and I'm like, hey, if you guys want to come, and then he presents to me in front of it's still a small formation.
Sure.
But a lot bigger than I wanted. I just wanted, hey, just me and my wife and one friend, and just hand it to me and say,
private.
Just hand it to me and say, good job, and let me keep it going.
Right.
So, it's so late. It's 19 years later. So at the time I was like, it's just, nobody needs to, be here for it. The time's passed. But I'm glad. I'm very happy that we had that ceremony. Looking back, I'm very happy we had the ceremony.
I think people that attended are very happy that they had an opportunity to witness it.
I think so. And I think it had some closure for myself, just on my career. I had, when in 2004, one of my team leaders died, you get a lot of survivor's guilt, and you're just like, man, he made it. I didn't make it. He didn't make it. I made it.
Right.
So you kind of get that guilt going. And I had that for a lot of years. Because we were, at the time when they got ambushed and died, we were doing this thing called mortar mitigation. So when our base gets mortared, the Army had a system that can say, hey, this is where they're coming from.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we sent Humvees out to go try to find them. Well, we didn't have enough Humvees in 2004, so we'd switch off. One platoon would take it, then they come back, then the next platoon would take it. So it was our turn. They were just coming back from a patrol, and we were supposed to take the vehicles out because we were getting mortared. And the squad was like, no, don't worry about it. We're ready on the vehicles. We'll take it. So they turn around. We'll be right back. They turn around, leave the base, and some of them just didn't come back. So that's where the guilt comes from.
Yeah, that's it's just a tough situation, man.
Yeah, it was good. All four of them. Amazing men.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's just the trauma that people are exposed to with situations like that is just something that is indescribable.
It is. It's something that, it's even hard to explain to anyone because, unless you were there and you actually went through the stuff, it's hard to explain. Even when talking to somebody, whether it's a psychologist or something like that, they can hear the stories, but it's easier to say, hey, get over it versus you weren't there. So it's just difficult, You
got to just take one day at a time.
That's what it is. You got to kind of live for those guys.
Yeah.
We celebrate them all the time. We do workouts for them. We never forget them. We talk about them every year, how much we miss them. We still in contact with their families. So, all this time later, it's been over 20 years. So we're still in contact with all of them.
Never forget.
No, never.
Never. Now, Francisco, you close this chapter with the Marine Corps.
Yes.
But you didn't get enough.
No.
So you decide to, you want to serve. You want to continue serving. But you want to serve in your community.
Yes.
So you end up becoming a peace officer. And as a peace officer, what's your mindset going into now serving a community? What do you want to accomplish next? What's your mindset then?
Well, I mean, pretty much serving is what I was. I wanted to make whatever community I was in better. At the time, I was in Quantico, Virginia before I applied.
Okay.
For over here for our department now.
Okay.
This is the only department I applied for. I didn't apply to anybody else.
All right.
So
Any reason for that?
It's just this is where I wanted to be. You know,
Okay.
One of my buddies was on the department.
All right.
So I was like, you know, I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to go here.
This is it.
I never forget because I was looking at departments on the East Coast.
Okay.
And I was putting in applications on the East Coast because I was in Quantico, Virginia. So let's just stay here, told my wife. But her and I had a conversation years prior while I was in the military saying, hey, you know, we were at Universal Studios overlooking, seeing the mountains, seeing everything. And then we're like, hey, you know, would you want to stay here when I retire? And she's, yeah, let's move back.
Okay.
So that was always in the back of our mind. So I call my buddy and say, hey, are you guys hiring? You know, and he's like, yes, we're hiring. So I dropped everything on the East Coast. I only applied over here. That was it. All my applications, pulled every application I had. I only applied to this, you know, over here. That was it. I didn't even have a job offer yet. And we packed up everything from Virginia and we moved cross country.
Wow.
Hoping and prayer. So during my lieutenant's interview, I say, hey, this is the only department I applied for. And I know I don't have a job offer, but we moved.
We moved.
We're here.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
So you have no choice. You got to hire me.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that, but you know, I just let them know, hey, I'm serious and this is what I want to be. You know, they kick you out the room for a little bit,
right?
Bring you back in, and they said, hey, we want to offer you the next academy. So, and that was October of 2014. So it was a good feeling.
It's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, it was amazing.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
How you go home and tell your wife otherwise?
Yeah, it was amazing. and you know, back to your question was, you know, my mentality was I just want to make whatever community I'm serving better. That's it. I'm all about helping people. I've always been. That's like my number one, you know, family and helping people. That's what I like doing. I enjoy seeing others succeed is what I like doing.
That's a great mission. It's a great mission. Now you, as you become a peace officer and you go through the academy and you start going through like phase training and you start to realize this job is for me or this job is really for me. What's going through your mind?
I immediately knew I loved the job. Throughout the academy, you know, the physical fitness portions of it weren't difficult for me.
Sure.
Just coming because I was just retired, so I'm used to running and stuff like that, doing the CrossFit exercises. It was the academics that was difficult for me. You know, was learning what the crimes were. Looking back now, you're like, wow, that was so easy. How did why was I so stressed out?
Right.
You know, because we've done it for years now compared to back then when you didn't know anything. You're like, you know, what's a 459? You know, you're like, you're lost, you know?
Right.
But I immediately knew the job was for me in the academy. And then upon going to phase training, I got lucky enough that my first phase FTO was a SWAT officer.
Okay.
So him and I would, you know, he'd talk tactics and he'd give me different, you know, pointers going up to different scenes. This is where you want to park. This is why, you know, this is what we're doing. He'd explain stuff to me. You know, enough for me to understand it, like the reasoning behind it. And, you know, I just knew like I loved it from day one.
Now, as you're talking tactics with your field phase training officer, your FTO, are there any parallels with your Marine life?
There is, but there isn't because our tactics for clearing rooms and things like that are a lot different than the PDs.
Right.
We're more of a violence of action, get in there, get it done versus sit back, wait, take everything methodically, you know, take it slow, clear the rooms. But it's still, it's still similar in a way as well because, you know, you have to be calm. All the basics stay the same.
Okay.
It's just the speed you know, that you do things a little differently, a little slower here on the police department versus in the military. You know, we don't throw grenades in rooms here.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
we don't do that kind of stuff. You
Right.
know, we call people out to us. You know, that's what we want. We don't go into the room because the mission is different. You know,
Right.
we want to save lives, not take them.
But the fundamentals
The fundamentals are always the same.
are there.
Always.
Yeah. Keep people safe. Keep yourself safe.
That's it.
So you realize you're all in. You love this job, and you know that you move here for a reason.
Yes.
And now, as you're going through a couple of years on the police department, what's there's an incident that occurs, right, in 2015. 2018. I'm sorry, 2018.
Yes, I came out.
You came on in 2015, 2018.
Yes.
So in 2018, there's an incident that occurs in the college area.
A shootout in the college area leaves 2 San Diego police officers hospitalized.
We immediately started getting shot at. So I just took a position in front of him and said, I got you.
Can you walk us a little bit through that? It's some kind of a disturbance call, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So this happens in our Eastern Division, where at the time, you know how everybody says you have to be part of the big three to see anything.
Sure.
Remember living back in the day?
Yeah, that's what they used to say.
Big three. This is Eastern Division where nothing happens.
Right. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So we get a call. It was a 415 violent. It was like a disturbance call. Initially I thought it was a DV, but looking back at everything, I realized it was a 415V. It was I guess it was kind of a DV. It said a man and woman arguing.
Okay.
It's what they said it was at an apartment complex. So at the time, there were 2 officers working overtime, and they got the call. So they went towards the call. It's my shift on graveyards.
Sure.
So being the rookie, the boot officer, I had 3 years on.
Right.
I was on like after the academy, I think 3 years, 2 months I was on.
Okay. Right.
So the new guy, hey, you go take the paper. You go write the report.
Sure.
These guys are in overtime. They're here just to help you. That's it. So I'm like, all right. So I start heading towards the call. And we get to the apartment complex. It's one of those, it's an indoor apartment complex. Not one of the ones like, not outdoors. So you have to walk inside of
Inside,
and it has like a long hallway and different doors. For
elevators.
Elevators, different apartments. When we first drive up there, there's an individual smoking a cigarette outside. So it's like, hey, he asked us, are you guys here for that apartment? That's the first thing he asked us.
Okay.
Are you guys here for that apartment? I'm like, yeah, which one? He gives us the number. I'm like, yeah, that's the apartment. He's like, all right, I'll let you guys in because you need a key card to get in.
Oh, all right.
Into the building. He opens the building. One of my partners puts a big rock at the doorway. He said, hey, this is for
Everybody else.
This is for our other partner that's coming because 2 of us were there first. This is the 3rd guy that's coming.
Okay.
So the 3rd guy needs to come. Okay, cool. So it was a 1st floor apartment, but you still have to walk upstairs to get to the 1st floor the way the apartment was set up.
The way it was designed.
Yeah, the way it was designed. So
Okay.
we go upstairs, get to the apartment, and the first thing we notice is 2 deadbolts on the door. So I was like, that's weird. That's a red flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, man, no doorknobs, nothing, just 2 deadbolts. All right. So our other partner gets there. So there's 3 of us there. Starts knocking on the door. Nothing. We need to make sure everybody's okay inside. No answer on the door. Knock again. No answer on the door. This goes on for probably about 10 plus minutes. At that time, I'm like, hey, we start smelling what we think is smoke coming from that apartment. So it smells like smoke coming from this apartment. Okay. So then one of my buddies, one of the other guys walks the whole entire apartment complex, like that floor. He
Okay.
pretty much goes through smelling like every door.
Sure.
Hey, it's coming from this apartment.
It confirms that it's coming from that
coming from the apartment. It's from here. Okay. Let's call the fire department. So we call the fire department. They get there and it's 2 day 1, phase 1 trainees.
Okay.
There's the engineer and then there's their captain. They verify, hey, yeah, it's coming from this door. All right. They're like, the doorknob's, not the doorknob, but the door's not hot. So I don't know if there's a threat of the whole place burning. We're not 100% sure that this is what they're telling us. So We got on the radio. We asked the sergeant, hey, like, this is what they're saying, but we all know that if we leave and, this place catches fire, who's responsible? It's not the fire department.
Sure.
They're going to look at the police department and say, hey, well, you guys were here. You just left and did nothing, so
right.
We get the okay to go ahead and breach the door to make sure everybody's okay inside. So my partner knocks one more time. Let's say he announces himself, say, hey, we're going to make entry if you don't come to the door. Silence. So, all right, we look at the firefighters and say, hey, since they're day one, phase one trainees, they'll open the door. So they use the Halligan tool. They break the door open. Door swings open. We can see smoke in the apartment. And then my partner announces, that it's the police department. And as soon as he goes to take a step, right before he takes a step in the apartment, we start taking fire from a back bedroom. Immediately, yeah. So the individual in the room waited for the firefighters to get out of the way.
Oh.
So if you look at our video, you'll notice that they get out of the way first before he starts shooting. It's almost like he was waiting for us to go into the apartment.
Ambush.
Yeah, waiting to ambush us. So we start taking fire ended up being a ghost gun AR-15.
Okay.
And it was pieced together so badly that it ended up being a fully automatic AR-15.
Mm.
So we immediately call shots fired. And one of our partners, so the firefighters go one direction, two of them, the two trainees, run down the hallway down the opposite direction, and we go towards the other direction where there's a window where we're going to try to escape from. So one of our partners gets out of the window. He evacuates two firefighters, and then he takes a position on a small little balcony overlooking, so he's like straddling a balcony,
okay,
covering for us. So he's shooting, through the back of the suspect. I start shooting back at the suspect through the wall because he starts shooting at us through the wall. At that time, he starts shooting through the wall and he hits Danny. He hits Danny. I don't know if I say it, but he hits Danny.
Okay.
So Danny falls. Danny loses all.
And Danny's with you.
Danny's with me. So Sean was able to get out.
Opposite end.
He was able to get out the window, evacuate the two firefighters, and then pretty much straddle the balcony to try to give us, cover. So so Danny and I can leave. However, Danny took a bullet through his, pretty much across his back, in between his vest and his back. And the shock caused him to lose all feeling in his body. So if you've seen our video, he falls straight back.
Straight back.
And he can't move, loses all feeling. So I try to initially grab him and drag him, and I ended up falling a little bit. Then we Danny and myself roll him over on his stomach, and he starts to crawl. So it starts a really slow crawl. He's like clawing at the floor while I'm pulling him with one arm and pretty much shooting through the wall where we're getting shot at from. So I can see the bullets coming through the wall. So I'm like trying to follow the bullets back to where we're getting shot from. So we get to the end of the hallway where the window's at, and Danny can't get out. He still has his gun belt on. It's a tiny, tiny window, and he can't get out. His gun belt is still on him. So he has no feeling to get the gun belt off.
Sure.
So.
And you don't know this at the time?
At the time, he just said, I can't get my gun belt off, is what he was saying, I believe, on the video. Can't get my gun belt off. So I was like, hey, can you get out? No, I can't get out. So I'm like, okay, well, in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I'll protect you, I got in front of him. I stood in front of him, just in case the individual came out and started shooting, that I'd be the one to take the next bullets. But he's continuing to shoot through the wall. So again, I start shooting through the wall back at him to let him know, hey, we're still here.
Right. Yeah.
We have bullets too,
Right.
So I'm shooting at him through the wall as he's shooting at us. All the time, Sean's behind us saying, hey, he's shooting too and telling us to stay down, to stay low, which, obviously good advice. The bullets are coming, coming high. Thankfully, the guy shooting high, he probably still thinks we're standing up. But at this time, we're like down to the ground. I take a position in front of Danny and, I say, hey, I got you, I got you, brother, and the individual still keeps shooting through the wall. So I'm shooting back at him. At that time, Sean's calling in all our resources.
Yeah.
He's a SWAT guy. So I'm trying to protect Danny through the wall, and he's calling all the reach. He's calling in the cavalry. He's the one that calls, the code 12. He's telling officers, hey, bring up a shield, bring up a long gun. And then he's saying, hey, the shield is in this vehicle. He's putting all this information out. One officer that's hit, this is where he's hit at. So he's putting out all this information. And it sounds like smooth across the radio, like just great.
Yeah.
His, the way he's talking.
He's managing his stress.
Oh, he's super calm, but you can still hear the urgency in his voice.
Sure.
Like I need it now.
Right.
But still super calm. Next officer comes up, Dan Beam comes up, and he asks Sean, hey, where's the shield? Oh, it's in vehicle, whatever the vehicle was. So they go back, he grabs the shield, he hands it to Sean, brings it through the window, to the small little sliding window.
Right.
And then I get it in my hands and I put it in front of me and Danny. And within probably 3 seconds, the guy, points his rifle outside the doorway and starts shooting down the hallway at that point. So the bullets are hitting the shield, bullets are hitting the wall, all over the place. And I knew from the Marine Corps back, we were always taught when we were doing, clearing rooms, don't put your back up against the wall. Don't lean up against the wall because bullets travel down the wall.
Sure.
So I was pretty much center hallway with the shield. So the shield starts getting hit with fire with some rifle rounds. And then I feel like a strong burning sensation in my left shoulder. And then so when I look and I realize that I was shot in the shoulder. I look down at my left shoulder. I'm a lefty. So I look down at my left shoulder and I realize, oh man, I'm shot right now. And I think I say I'm hit. I tell everybody, I'm hit. And looking down at my shoulders, like cherry red, blood just leaking out.
Right.
But I still had full movement in my arm. I don't know, maybe it was adrenaline. Not exactly sure. But I continued shooting back. We got shot at. I started shooting back. What I didn't realize was I was shot 2 additional times. A bullet went through the shield and shot me in the chest above my vest.
Above your vest?
It was right above my vest, below my collarbone. And it went down and lacerated my left lung. So that, and then another bullet was a ricochet, I believe, and it went through my neck and out my chin. Well, that was my the second round. I didn't feel any of those 2 at all. I just felt the first one. So I didn't realize until after watching the video that I'm talking regular, and then all of a sudden I started breathing really heavy. And it's because I had my lung was collapsing and I had a pneumothorax. Right. So I was dying in the hallway. At that time, I told, Danny says, hey, we got a second officer hit. He's on the ground. He can't get out. So I'm saying, hey, I'm hit. And I'm like, that's when it started to come in. I'm like, oh man, are we going to make it out of here?
Right.
All of a sudden Danny gets the strength to sit up and kick the window out of the frame. So he kicks his window out of the frame and he's able to get out. And then I go out after him. My mentality prior to that was I already had fired 1 magazine and I was already halfway through my 2nd magazine. So my mentality was, hey, if I get to my 3rd magazine, I already have a shield. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try to rush the guy and try to end the threat. That was the biggest thing. Try to end the threat, because I didn't know how much longer we were going to be in there.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. Watching the video, it was like an 8-minute firefight.
Oof.
To me, I was like, oh, that's not a long time. And then I realized that most police shootings are like a few seconds.
Seconds.
And we're in there for 8 minutes, so we all got out, Danny jumped out the window first. I was second. And then Sean stayed with he was given a shotgun by another officer, Dominic Artis. He was given a shotgun. So he's holding his position down the hallway while me and Danny get evacuated. I remember jumping down. I still had my gun in my hand and I had all my adrenaline still pumping. And then I think it was a sergeant that said, hey, give me your gun. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give up my gun, and then he said, hey, you're good. Just give me your gun. So I give him my gun and it was like the adrenaline just dumped. Mm-hmm. I went from being coherent to just bag of potato, sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So 2 officers pretty much grabbed me on both sides. And they start dragging me back to an ambulance. To Crown Vic. They take me to the Crown Vic.
Okay.
So one officer grabs me from behind and just drags me into the Crown Vic, and while he's sitting with me, I'm pretty much leaning on him. And then 2 other officers get in the driver's seat and passenger seat, and they take me to the hospital. Same thing with Danny. So they take us to different hospitals. Danny goes to Scripps Mercy, and I go to Sharp Memorial. Are the 2 different hospitals we go to. Thankfully, I had a really good trauma team working at the hospital where I got sent to. They're the ones that saved my life.
As you get to do you remember getting to the ER?
Yes.
OR?
Well, I remember a couple of things. I remember we're driving to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I see the lights going, like the street lights going past me really fast.
Right.
And I remember telling, his name was Brian Nolt, he's the driver. I'm like, hey, slow down. You're going to crash. He said, well, I got to get you to the hospital. So I need to drive fast. I'm like, okay. And then I remember being really hot. That's the next thing I remember, being really hot. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know why I feel this way, but they lower the window. I need some air. So I feel the air, and it feels good. And I'm like, all right, well, let me try to control the breathing.
Yeah.
We get to the ER. I try to step out of the car, and then the nurses and the doctors come out with the gurney. They tell me to get on the gurney, and I try to say that I'm good. They're like, get on the gurney. So, all right. So I get on this gurney. They're wheeling me in. All of a sudden, the doctor says that, pretty much cut my uniform off. So I feel like the cold air from them cutting they started off on like my left pant leg. I'll never forget it because I can feel the cold air hitting my legs. And in my mind, I'm thinking, the first thing I'm thinking, which is kind of weird, is they're cutting my uniform. This is like $92 for these pants.
Yeah.
I'm like,
right, yeah.
Who's going to buy me another pair of these things? They're expensive, but that's the thing that's in my mind. Isn't that weird? But they cut my pants legs off, and then they give me a shot. And I don't know what the shot was, but it feels like my entire body's like on fire. And I start kicking, and I'm like, doctor's like, stop kicking. Well, I'm like, wait, freaking hurts. I'm like, it freaking hurts, man. And then they put the little mask on me, and then I pass out, lights out. And then I wake up 2 days later. I was in a medically induced coma for 2 days.
What's going through your mind when you wake up?
It was weird. When I woke up, the doctor looks at me, and she's like, oh, you're awake. And she's like, do you know where you're at? Yes, I'm in the hospital. Do you know what happened? Yes, I got shot. She's like, okay. They said, we're going to remove your breathing tube. And then I don't feel any pain, but I see them taking out this breathing tube out of my mouth. And I'm like, this thing was long. And I'm like, what the heck is this thing? So they take this tube out, and then they just, I'm back in the ICU, and I'm awake, and I'm like, how's Danny?
Right.
How's Danny? How's Sean? How are they doing? And they're both good. So, that feeling was good to know that they were good. Waking up to my wife being there was great, 'cause she's been through a lot. She's been through the whole Marine Corps thing, getting blown up and having to get the phone calls for that.
And now this.
And then now this, she's like, hey, you get blown up in Iraq, then you come here, and then you serve again, and now you get shot. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
we all need a good partner, though.
Oh, yes, I agree. Yes. And she's been through everything. We've been together since high school. So we've been together a long time. We've been together 25 years now.
Wow.
Almost 26 years. So actually we've been together 26 years, almost 27. She's going to watch us and be like, you don't even know.
You don't even know.
You don't know how long we've been together.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been together.
I've been traumatized.
Yeah, we've been together since high school. So she's been through it all. Yeah. And, having a partner is a strong one is a big deal. It's
a huge deal.
Yes.
Huge deal.
Huge deal.
But Francisco, talking about that, you also, before we started doing the episode, we were talking about family.
Yes.
And the importance of certain parts of our family. You want to share any of that with us?
Yeah. At the time, we had our son. He was only 18 months old. So, my wife had to drag him out of the house. But it's funny how when you think about the family and who you live for, and then that's what I think got me through that night, thinking about my family. It's funny because you and I were talking about it, but I always had a fight song that played in my mind. Like if I was ever fighting for my life, whether it was overseas or, even on the police department. I always run myself through what if scenarios. If I was fighting for my life, what would be my final song? And being from New Jersey, Bon Jovi fan, so it was always Blaze of Glory was like my fight song. Hey, I'm fighting for my life. This is the song. This is my soundtrack,
Right.
And that was not the case. At the time, I had my 18-month-old, and the song going through my mind was the Bubble Guppies theme song. So I'm in the middle of this firefight, and, I'm trying to count my rounds. I'm trying to make sure my partner is good, and I'm singing the Bubble Guppies theme song. So I guess that was my reason for fighting that night. So,
That's right.
Yeah. It was good.
Amazing, right?
It's amazing. It's amazing what, when you have something to fight for, it's amazing, how much you can accomplish.
Puts life in certain perspective.
Absolutely. It does.
So, Francisco, now, thank you for sharing everything that we talked about today. I mean, you've been blessed.
Absolutely.
Not once.
A couple times.
Not twice. More than that.
Yes.
I mean, you shared having a wonderful partner in your life. That's also a blessing.
It is.
Bubble Guppies during a gunfight. That's a blessing.
Yes.
What's next? What do you do with your stories, man?
Well, luckily I get to talk, I get to speak to the academies. Every other academy or so, they bring me in for the officer involved shooting panel. And I get to tell my story to the recruits the day before they graduate and give them my perspective and, give them any little words of wisdom that I can give them prior to them going to the field. Because I want them to be as prepared as possible. So just my goal is I like mentoring people. Like I said earlier, I like helping people. So I want to put myself in the best position to do that, be able to mentor and just help officers in this department. That's what I want to do. That's what I like doing. Like I said earlier, I like everybody to succeed. I think there's room for everybody to grow, for everybody to succeed. And that's like my number one priority. Obviously, family comes first.
Right. It has to.
It does.
Yeah.
My family comes first because, we say it all the time, but when you leave this job, it's next man up, next woman up.
Right.
You're going to be replaced when you retire. So my family has to deal with all those, graveyard shifts and all that stuff, So family's first. However, you still can leave an impact on the department, and if I can just leave a little bit, giving advice and mentoring newer officers or even mentoring anybody for that matter, I think that's where I want to be.
Well, Francisco, I think you have, and you will continue to do that.
Thank you.
I think your story doesn't even just resonate with military personnel or with peace officers. It resonates with anybody that loves life. That's what I think. And, I asked you to be here because I knew that's what your story does, man. People need to hear it, not just at the academy, everywhere. And so I encourage you to continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for being here, brother.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To everybody watching, thank you very much for tuning in. Please subscribe and like the video. And we're going to try to bring more stories like this and others so that we can get to know what peace officers are like. Peace officers are human too. We go through a lot of stuff. And, we need to make sure that cops just get the right training that they need. Thank you for watching.